I'd like to welcome to the stage now Lisa Clemmons Stott, who is E-Mobility and Innovation Director at the State of Illinois Department of Commerce, for the closing keynote on how Midwestern states are shaping the future of electric vehicles.
Michael, you did not do a good job saying that there's someone else coming after you. It's like you're like, run to the drinks. Oh, hi, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for having me. It's been a great day, and I'm really honored to be able to close out the first EV Summit USA with a few closing remarks. I want to take us back to where this all started with sustainability. Climate change is the defining issue of our time. More than anything else we do, our response to the climate crisis will dictate what future we leave for our children. How we produce the massive amount of energy we need to power our future is the biggest determinant of our success or failure in addressing this crisis. In Illinois, led by our governor, J.B. Pritzker, J.B. is a former venture capitalist. He says that he is a reformed venture capitalist. He's a former manufacturer. He understands what we're trying to do here. He's led us to believe that if we build and invest correctly, the transition to clean energy can do more than just save the planet. It can create growth and opportunity for individuals and their families and help us form more sustainable, livable communities. So echoing Senator Lee's experience that a lot is happening at the state and local level to help engender this, states like Illinois are leading the way in this fight. We are playing a central role in shaping the speed and scale of the move away from dependence on fossil fuel by strategically deploying federal and state dollars to undertake very ambitious climate programs, utilizing every single lever that we have at our disposal in state government. Our agenda, first and foremost, recognizes the sheer magnitude of the effort required from both the public and the private sectors in order to meet our state goal of 100% clean energy by 2050. The electrification of transportation has been a core tenet of this goal. Deepesh kind of made this point earlier this morning that even if you are a 100-year-old company, like for example in Chicago, Ford has an assembly plant that's 100 years old this year. Even if you're a 100-year-old company, you are still in the early phases of EV development and adoption. But whether you're an established company or a startup, it helps to have the government undertake some of the risk and provide financial stability so that you can develop and demonstrate the potential of a product, whether that be electric vehicles or solar panels. The rapid, widespread shift that is needed requires us to develop and deploy green energy technology at a massive scale. Every bit of additional government assistance, whether it's financing, coordination, R&D support, can be critical. In addition, this ecosystem of green energy technology that is really the basis of today, from batteries to charging stations to solar cells, they all rely on one another. It is also the role of government, we believe, to make sure that the infrastructure is in place to help you pull all of that together. The Midwest has natural assets like our incredibly productive workforce, our centralized location, our abundant fresh water, and our already robust manufacturing infrastructure. But we also have strong leadership that is making incredible long-term policy shifts. And I'd like to share a little bit about what's been happening in Illinois since Governor Pritzker set this vision about 5 years ago. So in September 2021, Illinois passed CEJA, and that stands for the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act. CEJA is the most comprehensive single climate action policy that we've put into effect, but it's by far not our only one. Illinois understands that every marginal reduction in planetary warming we can achieve, every fraction of a percent, represents billions of dollars in savings not only for our economy, but also likely tens of thousands of lives. So it is our obligation then to leave no stone unturned in this fight. CEJA includes incentives, rebates, and funding to support this transition to clean energy, and I'll share a little bit about that program in a little bit. I'm actually going to pepper references to CEJA throughout the rest of my comments. So a few months after CEJA was passed, the state created our REV incentives. That stands for Reimagining Energy and Vehicles Act. This program lowers taxes on businesses and provides competitive incentives for manufacturers looking to locate to or expand in Illinois. Some names that you might recognize who have taken advantage of this program are Rivian and Lion Electric. And the program itself, a lot of other companies have come into this program. They've invested $5.4 billion, or will be investing in the coming years. They've retained more than 7,400 jobs, and they are creating 5,000 new jobs. And that's only been since November of 2021. REV is one of those unique pieces of state legislation that is improved upon every single time the state legislature meets. You know, they've met 7 or 8 times since the original law was passed, and they improve it. We listen to the industry. They improve it every single time. So most recently, REV also specifically called out, for example, the EV toll industry and the electrification R&D specifically in the airline sector. I'm also on an advanced air mobility task force at the state of Illinois, and so we're working on creating what that charging infrastructure should look like. That's through our Illinois Department of Transportation. I should also note, being home to O'Hare Airport, the second largest airport in the United States for imports and exports, we also passed a sustainable aviation fuel tax credit to incentivize airlines to cut their greenhouse gas emissions by up to 80% compared with traditional jet fuels. And just so you know, I'm the business development person in this sector, so REV is my primary tool, and I would love to talk to anyone who would like to take advantage of it. Another legislative piece that we've done is we've enacted an Electric Vehicle Charging Act that requires all new building construction to be EV capable in the future. We've also staffed up across the agencies. I'd like to point out Jack Cruikshank. Jack is at the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency. We have staff at IDOT, we have staff at IDNR, that's our Department of Natural Resources. Our Central Management Services is the agency that does our own fleet transition to electrification. For Illinois, equitable opportunity and good paying jobs are important related outcomes. We are already ranked #1 in the Midwest for workforce development, and we have a special focus on training the next generation of EV workers. As part of CEJA, we are investing $180 million annually in renewable energy curriculum and training at 14 different locations around the state. Plus, this year we invested an additional $10 million to community colleges to expand their EV programs. And talking about infrastructure, Illinois, Jack tells me, Illinois has almost 3,600 public EV charging ports to date, and then with our CEJA investments and the federal investments that we're winning, we're going to be adding at least 4,700 more that we know about today. And that's not even counting the $148 million in NEVI funds that Illinois has received. As far as our electrical grid, CEJA mandated that our 2 regional utilities must provide beneficial electrification plans with multi-year investments to support this transition. You heard earlier from Britta that both Ameren and ComEd, our north and our south utility, are on the EPRI Scaling Committee. So, and you also need to know that ComEd, our northern utility, was named the most reliable utility in the United States last November. We are a deregulated energy market, and since the governor took office, we have doubled our clean energy generation and are now at 70% from clean sources. Obviously, a lot of that conversation has happened today about how to maintain grid reliability. While turning on all those chargers and gigafactories and expanding our access to wind and solar generated energy. Illinois' role with the Midwest Hydrogen Hub will be very important, with Constellation here today as one of our main partners in that. Another example of our creative but pragmatic policy approach to the transition, the legislature just passed a bipartisan bill to allow small modular nuclear reactors to be manufactured and utilized in Illinois. This also plays into the question of what to do with our many former coal mining sites. You might not think about coal mining when you think about Illinois, but southern Illinois especially was incredibly rich in coal, and at one time there were nearly 7,500 coal mines in Illinois. We see the potential for SMRs to be developed at the sites of former coal plants, for example. Through CEJA's Coal to Solar and Storage initiative, we have also started to distribute over $280 million in grants to turn transitioning coal plants into battery storage facilities. Finally, to make sure that products made in Illinois can continue to travel to anywhere in the US and most parts of Canada and Mexico in less than 2 days, our governor passed a $45 billion Rebuild Illinois program, which is underpinning all of this, ensuring our roads, rail, and bridges are maintained to the highest standards. Going forward, in addition to building out our EV charging infrastructure for passenger vehicles, we are one of the top states for TDL, and so we know that we owe it to our citizens to help reduce emissions, on the fleet electrification side. So we've aggressively gone after federal grants to help us tackle this problem. Our coordinated approach is paying off. Illinois won $430 million from the US EPA's Climate Pollution Reduction Grant, and more than $100 million of that will go to creating a comprehensive framework for critical freight projects. And so we know people are interested in this problem being solved in California and New York, and we really encourage you to think about partnering with us in Illinois. We've also been awarded approximately $135 million to date in clean school bus funding. There was just an announcement 2 weeks ago that Herscher School District, which is a kind of a rural suburban school district, they just announced 25 electric Lion school buses in a beautiful new garage. And so that's one of the biggest investments from one specific school bus that we've heard of, or school district that we've heard of recently. We also got $15 million from the first round of the Charging and Fueling Infrastructure Grant, specifically for medium heavy duty, and another $7 million in charger reliability funding. We also received $108 million from the National Clean Investment Fund, which will provide capital to finance clean energy projects. I have to also say that as we're looking at different agencies around the state, our Illinois Finance Authority has become a huge partner. They're officially our climate bank, and they are bringing new levels of financing to all of our projects. You can see it with Illinois CEJA, the federal IRA, and the CHIPS and Science Act. Companies were in good position to grow gradually, but it is government incentive and coordination that is supercharging that growth, building up the necessary infrastructure and putting us on the path to adopt green energy at scale. I've thrown a lot of numbers and a lot of pieces of legislation at you this afternoon. What I'm hoping you'll remember most from my remarks is that when you're thinking about energy innovation, you think about Illinois. No other state in the nation has the sheer number of world-class institutions, from the University of Chicago to Northwestern to the University of Illinois, particularly in the realm of science and engineering. University of Illinois graduates more engineers each year than MIT, Stanford, and Caltech combined. Actually, right now, U of I is looking for private sector partners as it is standing up the Illinois Autonomous and Connected Track, a state-of-the-art research-tested arena for the R&D and commercialization of smart, autonomous, and multimodal transportation in colder climates. Illinois is also ground zero for cracking the battery code, density, materials, temperature. We have Argonne National Laboratory and the Advanced Photon Source. You probably saw Argonne was just selected by the Department of Energy to lead the Energy Storage Research Alliance, one of 2 new energy innovation hubs. Their work will help meet the demand for high-performance, low-cost, and sustainable energy storage devices, especially those with potential to deeply decarbonize heavy-duty transportation and the electric grid. And a little bit of a side note, but I think very relevant for all the innovators in the room. In a few short years, Chicago will be home to the Illinois Quantum and Microelectronics Park. It's a $500 million state investment, which is being anchored by the U.S. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, otherwise known as DARPA. Quantum will radically change science and engineering in the coming years, so naturally, clean energy is an area where it has the potential to be game-changing. Already, scientists are looking at quantum computing as a way to optimize energy technology development, as well as improve grid safety and reliability. That is something we are hoping to facilitate in Chicago. I've heard Governor Pritzker say more than once that energy and environmental policy doesn't have to come at the expense of economic growth, convenience, or innovation. I'm very proud to work for his administration and to be here with all of you today working to build an EV future. Thank you.